It's currently 9:55 p.m. I worked on the Moogle polystyrene drawing project, both within the early night period and during the late afternoon hours, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the latest. At that time, I finished the coloring and blending for the body of the Moogle, and what I've been doing most recently is the coloring for the face of the Moogle and the top side of the polystyrene drawing project. These are all the Sharpie markers I recall using throughout today while working on the Moogle polystyrene drawing project. Though I had to be careful with this one so it didn't bleed too much, since it has a tendency to leak after I put the cap back on and then remove it in order to draw a border for a coloring region. I recall waking up today around 10:15 in the morning to an alarm I set before going to bed around 4:30 in the morning. 4:30 in the morning at the latest. Deliberately less than 6 hours of sleep to make it easier to fall asleep earlier tonight. Though I don't feel tired right now and didn't throughout today. Shortly after waking up and getting up around 10:15 in the morning, though I recall at one point briefly waking up at either around 6:30 in the morning or around 8:30 in the morning before going back to sleep. Shortly after I got up for today, I had a cup of plain coffee, and Dan and I left around 10:45 in the morning to visit Grandpa in the hospital, which we did roughly from 11 in the morning to about 11:45 in the morning. Grandpa seems to be doing much better. He was sitting instead of lying down. Before we got to the hospital, we picked up him and my dad's mom at his parents' place, and we all made some conversation with Grandpa. And to an extent with each other. While sitting in the room that Grandpa was in. It was a double room with 2 beds separated by a curtain. And this curtain was almost entirely drawn. Closed. After the visit with Grandpa, we went back to Dad's parents' place and briefly stayed over there to visit Dad's mom. During which I had an aluminum can of Dr. Pepper, one of those 12 fluid ounce cans, and Dad had an exact sized aluminum can of Orange Crush. Then, a bit later, Grandma gave me this mac and cheese. I believe Dad added in the broccoli and the sausage, the sliced sausage, I think sometime between 6 and 7 p.m. And then put the meal in the refrigerator, the non-freezer side of it. After thawing out the mac and cheese. And if I recall, I can definitely confirm Dad got the broccoli when we went grocery shopping at the local Wegmans near Mom's place. Around 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. being the latest we started that grocery shopping trip, which took 15 minutes at the most, and during which I got this as part of a craft your own pack. I shared 2 slots with the 6-pack Dad crafted at the time. And I picked this out because I had an interest in trying different IPAs. By the Hamburg Brewing Company, the Louis IPA. Tastes pretty good. Though at least for me, after you've had a few, it's hard to tell if how any particular IPA is really different from the rest. But it does taste good, though. I had that can of Dr. Pepper around 12:15 p.m. And around 2 hours later, within a minute or two of 2 hours later, I had some homemade chicken noodle soup that Dad's mom also made. And that Dad's mom prepared. And gave to us. It was poured into a container that originally had sour cream in it. While we grocery shopped at the local Wegmans by Mom's place, because today was a weekend day, Wegmans employees had set up booths or tables that provided little booth tables without a tent, since this was indoors, that provided free samples of various products. I tried a free sample of a product called Professor's Brie. Which was enjoyable. Brie is an enjoyable cheese, though I don't feel I like it as much as The mild cheddar cheese sticks I often have. Then I tried a free sample of a product called Apple Harvest Cheddar, which is essentially cheese with apple and cinnamon embedded into it, from what I was told. Which was also enjoyable, though it's not a cheese product I would like to regularly eat, since I assume since it has apple and cinnamon are both sugary. And I think of cheese as something I often have, because I'm thinking of shifting towards a more keto-friendly diet. And when I think of cheese, I think of something with healthy fats in it. And not too many carbohydrates. Both of those samples were at the first booth I went to, and then there was a second booth nearby that featured another free sample of the Apple Harvest cheddar on top of a thin slice of elk salami, if I recall correctly. Made out of elk, some pork, and some salt, if I recall correctly. That free sample at the second booth was also pretty good. I enjoyed the elk salami, and the Apple Harvest cheddar was good with it. Prior to me finding those free samples, there were also booths of what seemed like baby tomatoes cut in half, though I wasn't really interested in those. As I'm more interested in meats and cheeses. Tomatoes are healthy, though I don't consider them as keto-friendly as meats and cheeses. Since tomatoes are technically a fruit, since they have seeds, and fruits tend to be sugary. Though I think tomatoes aren't as sugary as other fruits such as pears, bananas, and apples.